voice of sharing. Durian ASEAN.
ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia. Good morning. Welcome to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. Well, we apologize for the late news commentary session today, but however, we'll still carry on with our news commentary all the way from Southeast Asia and also deals both international and local affairs. Right, to start off Friday, and with the news commentary, there has been the viral news that was going on about WhatsApp, which actually came out on the desktop version as well. And this popular mobile messaging application WhatsApp, acquired by Facebook last year for nearly around 79 billion ringgit, unveiled a new service for sending messages from a web browser. Well, this chat application, which claims some 500 million users, said that the web service will be a mirror and it would require an internet-connected phone to work. So according to the WhatsApp group itself, they said our web client is simply an extension of your phone. The web browser mirrors conversations and the messages from your mobile device. This means all of your messages still live on your phone, which means it's automatically connected from your phone to your desktop, and even when you're at work or when you're just everywhere, as long as you have either phone or your electronic devices, you can access to WhatsApp and be able to send messages to your friends and families. So this new messaging service currently only works with the Google Chrome browser. So if you want to use WhatsApp on your desktop, well, it's better to have a Google Chrome to be able to conduct this application, and will not be available iPhone users due to Apple platform limitations. So this is another information that our listeners perhaps just watch out, because iPhone still do not support this WhatsApp to desktop yet. And Facebook in October completed its buy of WhatsApp in stock and a cash deal. So this it was highlighted that the stunning growth of mobile messaging, but also prompt analysis questions on the price paid by Facebook and the future plans for the service. Well, nowadays a lot of people are accessed to many applications such as WeChat, WhatsApp, KakaoTalk, and even we have another free calling and a message application called Viber. So all these free sending messages are available from application store. However, WhatsApp has extended its platform to desktop. So probably it may send good news to people who are who do make use of the desktop and they carry your desktop all the time. Well, moving on to next news, which is very nearby Malaysia, just our neighbor. Singapore. Singapore is the most livable city for foreigners, and then our capital, KL, ranked 16th in Asia. So Singapore remains the most livable city and also the world for foreigners, while Hong Kong slips to 33rd place from 17th in the global ranking of foreign living conditions. Well, in Asia, Kuala Lumpur and Georgetown both ranked in 16th in Asia and 118th in the world, while Johor Bahru is 21st in Asia and 126th in the world. This is, of course, from the Malaysia ranking places. However, regarding the Singapore, the conditions there, ECA, International Regional Director for Asia, Lee Kwan. According to Lee Kwan, he says good air quality, solid infrastructure, decent medical facilities, low crime, and health risks have contributed to Singapore maintaining its position at the top of the global ranking for quality of living for Asian assigners. So this is actually another good news for Singapore to promote the country and also to be able to invite more foreigners and tourists to examine the country to consider for living there. And it's also the fact that Singapore comes out the top time and then the time again. And does it make a very attractive proposition, like I mentioned before, especially for foreign investors as well as the tourists, for companies as well, to looking up to set up the offices in the region. And Singapore is very well known for very organized and structured country with a lot of system facilities available at easy access. And this particularly when the conditions in Hong Kong, well, it's Singapore's rival for the past few years, they have actually dropped in terms of standard a little bit. And updated annually, ECA accesses around 450 locations worldwide on the quality of living based on the climate, availability of health services, housing and utilities, isolations, access to social network and leisure facilities. Well, all those infrastructures, personal safety, political tensions, and air quality are also factors that to be considered. And Singapore is followed by Sydney and Adelaide in the ranking for Asian as well. And the Shanghai itself, it ranked 110th globally, and also is China's most livable city, followed by Beijing. So a lot of ranking is going on in the Asian countries, and yet Singapore remains the first and the most livable city in Asia. Well, going to India, the Bangalore ranked as 171st globally scored, and most favorably followed by Mumbai and Chennai as well. And also another part of India is also New Delhi, which ranked 204th at the least livable. And while our another neighboring country, which is Thailand, Thailand has gone backwards a bit because of all this declaration of the martial law has led to the worsening the socio-political scores for location there. And Bangkok and Chiang Mai both to the 112th spot, down from the last year from 108th. So for those who are looking at a comfortable, convenient, and also the city that you want to look at for long-term living, why not consider Singapore? Well, it is well known for very expensive city, but yet for foreigners, it's still the most livable city around the Asia country. So I'll be back shortly after just the one song by RFAB, The Last Fight. We'll bring more news from Southeast Asia. ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia. Good morning, welcome back to Julian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing, and you are still with Grace. So let's continue our news from the Southeast Asia, and this news particularly has been discussing and also been quite controversial regarding Southeast China Sea and then China Island building sort of the threat to all ASEAN, and it was from the Filipino side. And Albert de Rosario repeated warning last year that Beijing was reclaiming land around the isolated reefs in the South China Sea to turn them into islands which could hold fortified positions or even airstrips. So, China's reclamation of land in dispute to the South China Sea waters is a threat to all nations in Southeast Asia, in fact. And it was, like I mentioned, it was from the Philippines foreign minister, and he said, "I will re-emphasize this and invite the concern of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations states because it is all the threat to all of us." And that's one of the concerns because China doesn't seem to reduce its tension when it comes to South China Sea matter. And also, it was expressed by the Philippine Foreign Secretary that the Chinese actions in the Spratly Island would impact freedom to navigate the strategic mineral-rich waters through the which large volume of the world trade passes there. So, in fact, the South China Sea is a very important pathway when it comes to ASEAN regions because it has a lot of commercial and also business section that has been going on. And Manila accused Beijing last year of reclamation work in Quarteron and Johnson South and Gavin reefs in the Spratly Group. And they also claim, China claims almost all of the China Sea, and all which actually conflicts with those of the ASEAN members Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Vietnam, as well as a non-member, which is Taiwan. And Beijing has previously rejected Philippine protests that the land reclamation was being conducted in this territory. And also with People's Liberation Army Major General Luo Yuan defending it as justifiable. So the coming from China, their justification and also to defend and protect the South China Sea is pretty strong and very firm, and it looks like it's very hard to negotiate with other countries from Southeast Asia. However, the foreign minister from Philippines, he said he would raise the issue at upcoming meeting of ASEAN foreign ministers, pushing for countries involved in the dispute to adhere to a code of conduct to not increase the tension in the maritime region. Well, when it comes to maritime region strengthening strength, Indonesia is one of the ASEAN countries that, and also Japan is also one of the Asian countries. These both countries have been strengthening and putting a lot of budget into the security forces as well. And he also said that the Philippines hoped to receive the positive decision by early next year to the formal plea it filed to the United Nations. And how about the U.S. response to this is a U.S. official attending the strategic dialogue with the Philippines, and also to express concern of this China's behavior in the South China Sea. And we believe the bigger nations can't bully the small, which was quoted by the Secretary of State Daniel Russell, told this after the 2 days dialogue. So definitely the South China Sea has been it's a ongoing discussion. However, it looks like China is becoming more aggressive than ever and giving a lot of difficulties to other nations such as Philippines. And moving on to India. In India, women are considered a liability, and many families resort to illegal abortions to abort female fetuses. And they said, we don't have a right to kill our daughters. And it's according to the Modi, who is the Prime Minister of India. He says he has condemned the plight of India's dwindling number of girls today, and which was just yesterday it happened, and he launched a campaign to address the problem which the United Nations has said amount to national emergency. So in their neighborhood, girls are commonly killed in their mother's womb, which is also an abortion, and they don't feel the pain. He said in the speech, And then the Save the Daughter, Teach the Daughter, the name of the campaign. It is aimed at improving India's child sex ratio and also gender equality through access to education. India is quite a well-known country when it comes to sex abuse, and people are not educated enough to be able to receive all this information regarding sex and also to save children, and also pre-marriage, all these preparations. And according to the Times of the India report, India child sex ratio had dropped from 964 for every 1,000 boys in 1971 to a low of 918 for every 1,000 boys in 2011. And between 2001 and 2011, the decline was seen in more than two-thirds of districts in the nation. So it was also published in the British Medical Journal that as many as 12 million Indian girls may have been selectively aborted between 1980 and also 2010. So particularly this in Indian society, daughters are seen as a financial liability because parents need to spend a lot on getting their daughters married, and also the girls will then go to stay with the husband families. That's their culture and tradition, and then thus the girls have, especially women, have voiced out, saying that we don't simply just kill our daughters in our womb. And the Modi has come up with the campaign Save the Daughter and Teach the Daughter, and I hope this campaign goes on to be able to educate more community in India and to be able to to be able to support human rights in the nation itself as well. Well, moving on to the next news, traveling back to our neighbor, which is Indonesia. Well, Joko Widodo has gained an unpopularity due to the announcement of execution, and then Australians are pretty showing their anger towards this plan that Jokowi announced. And the President Joko Widodo has rejected Chan's appeal for clemency, and also typically the last chance of the death row convicted to avoid the firing squad, has removed the final hurdle of authorities to put pair to death. So this Australian drug smuggler on death row in Indonesia has lost his appeal, and meaning that he could soon face the firing squad alongside the camper, also convicted of trafficking. Joko Widodo has been very strict on these policies and regulations in the nation, and sometimes he can actually go very violent and aggressive on certain things. And this incident is one of the things that Indonesian new president has been quite vocal and also been a very huge supporter of capital punishment for drug offenders, and also it gives the fears to public, and these fears have been growing the two Australian leaders of Bali 9, this drug smuggling gang. So definitely this has planted some of the toughest punishment for drug traffickers in the world. And previously it was said that Chan and Sukumaran had to be executed at the same time as they had committed their crime together. So these both men were sentenced to death in 2006, and it was sought presidency clemency after losing appeals to Indonesian Supreme Court in 2011. So they are jailed in the Bali's Krombokan prison. There has been another phrase that has come up with a presidential decree on the rejection of clemency for Andrew Chan. The letter itself, which was signed on the January 17th, said after careful consideration of the clemency appeal of the convict as listed in the president's presidential decree, it is assessed that there is not enough reason to grant clemency to the convict. So, well, there has been the tension growing up between Australia and Indonesia because of this matter, and that they also wanted to save the two Australian drug smugglers in Indonesia. And also, they expressed by saying that they will continue to make representations at the highest level, while this appeal for presidential clemency is normally the last avenue to open death row convicts. Sukumaran's lawyer said today that he was making the unusual move of seeking a fresh judicial review of the case. So that's it for the second segment of news commentary. I'll be back after the song called Shadows by Zanila Lee. ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia. Good morning, welcome back to Duyan ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing, and you are still with Grace. Well, today is Anything Can Happen Friday, but then we are almost at the last segment of news commentary today, so I'm going to share more news from the ASEAN region, and one of them is just to recap of what's been happening around this ASEAN region and Southeast Asia more likely. ASEAN Open Sky policy comes into force and also raising hopes for the higher traffic growth. Well, sadly, we've been having a lot of tragedy when it comes to aviation area in the last year especially. And but then ASEAN opens a new policy in the sky, and it will come to effectively this month hopefully, and it's already been implemented. And this one is also known as ASEAN Single Aviation Market, or ASEAN SAM, is intended to increase regional and domestic connectivity, integrate the production networks, and also enhance the regional trade by allowing airlines from ASEAN member states to fly freely throughout the region via liberalization of air services on the single unified air transport market. This is definitely a good news to especially business and foreign investors who are looking at the ASEAN region as potential platforms for them to establish companies and or organizations. So if ASEAN SAM is successfully implemented, there will no longer be regulatory limits on the frequency or capacity of flights between international airports across the 10 ASEAN member countries. So there will be more freedom of the air, and also third and fourth freedom rights, the rights to fly from an airline home country to foreign country, and also vice versa. And freedom of rights, the rights to fly between these two foreign countries during flight originating or ending in an airline home country. And definitely when it comes to safety, this is one of the most concerning part in airline area. 3 aviation tragedies in 2014 have brought attention to the issues of safety of Southeast Asian airlines for sure. And March 8th, MH370 went missing, and July it was in July last year, MH17 was shut down, and also shortly after in December 28th, it was AirAsia Indonesia flight QZA501 went missing after leaving Surabaya for Singapore. So definitely this air safety standard in much of the Southeast Asia are improving, and in Indonesia in particularly. In 2007, in fact, this safety standard were so bad that EU prohibited all Indonesian airlines from flying into the members' countries. Well, but however, that ban was lifted in August 2009 for all airlines except Lion Air. Now, with this new policy that includes higher standard of safety and also other regulatory measures regarding operating flights. But although many of these won't be implemented until the end of 2015, there are lots of plans and the regulatory and the policies will come out. However, the air service liberalization, some changes are intended to improve aviation safety for sure. And this aviation security, air traffic management, civil aviation technology, and air transport regulatory framework are other parts of the area which is indeed in the need of taking into consideration. And also when it comes to aviation, the performance of Southeast Asia airlines are hardly ignored, where this financial performance of the aviation industry has been relatively strong in Asia despite high profile the events that all of us had to go through. Asia Pacific carriers are expected to be the second best performance of 2014, and with around 3.5 billion US dollars in the combined profits. In addition to that, low oil prices should continue to keep costs down in 2015, which is just this year. There is much growth in Southeast Asia due to surge in the popularity of budget carriers in the region. A growing middle class has led to the increasing appetite for travel, definitely, and also it happened after the Air Asia the logo it came up with everyone can fly. In fact, a lot of middle classes have been traveling a lot to many other countries, also targeting East Asia countries as well. And also the geography of Southeast Asian archipelagos gives the air travel an advantage over other means of transportation. Well, despite all this event, safety standards are set to improve, and if ASEAN SAM is implemented effectively, definitely a lot of more things and more positive news and updates will be heard from airlines and aviation field around the Asia. Now moving on to talk a little bit about the entrepreneurs. There are lots of plans and policies that have been released about AEC, and Joko Widodo, the new president of Indonesia, has said that the entrepreneurs must not be anxious about AEC. So President Joko Widodo mentioned that his call for people, particularly all those young entrepreneurs, not to view this AEC, which is ASEAN Economic Community, which will be introduced soon. And according to him, these ASEAN leaders were worried about this AEC mainly because the consequences and they remain difficult to predict, and also citing Indonesia among the countries they're afraid of because of the large populations. And with a large population, of course, Indonesia has also produced lots of younger entrepreneurs in the nation itself, and some of them perhaps may not be aware of these AEC policies and regulations that could be implemented for this community. So he expressed saying that this means that you should not be afraid. In fact, it is they who are nervous about us, and he's also wanted to encourage all these Indonesian young entrepreneurs. And there is another opinion, however, Himbi chairman Raja Sapat Otohari said entrepreneurs should remain cautious because enhanced the region's competition entailed both sides of the coin, threats as well as opportunities. Of course, there will be more opportunities because of this entrepreneurship has become more familiar to younger generations. However, they also need to face a lot of challenges and hurdles along the way because of lack of knowledge and information. Speaking of competitiveness, of course, these young entrepreneurs, both present and future, need affirmative action which means to help them with the business, and also including in access to legal matters, capital, and the markets. Those are the very essential factors when it comes to entrepreneurship, and those are the factors that they need to be aware of. That's when the Himbi chief expressed his concern over this entrepreneurship with ASC, which was announced. Well, in addition to that, he said that the business people in the creative economy especially were unsure as to how to further develop the industry. And also after Joko Widodo removed the sector from the remit of what was then the tourism ministry itself. And he separated the creative economic portfolio from tourism and also creative economic ministry, which was established under then the president Susilo Bambang. Jokowi has said that the agency handling creative economic would report directly to him as president and not to related minister. And it looks like it's more like President Joko Widodo wants to have his hands on to the project directly without going to other ministers. So with that, I can wrap up the news commentary of Durian ASEAN today. And today is Friday, so be happy and everything will be better. We have our social media channels such as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Don't forget to leave your comments or feedback. And if you have any questions, do visit our website, durianasean.com. We have most of our contents there that you can access to. And we'll be implementing a new app from Durian ASEAN directly, so you can access to our online radio station. So we'll be back next week. Have a good weekend and have a good Friday.